Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We're going back in the Am I the A-hole because, yeah, it had been a little bit. So you guys liked r/Am I the Devil? So yeah, let's give this one a little bit of a shot and see if you guys like it. And if so, I could do more of these. Maybe so, maybe not. I don't know. Let's go. Am I the A-hole for telling my sister that she needs therapy if she can't get over being teased one time in middle school? This whole situation is so dumb. I'm contemplating even posting about it on here. The backstory is that my sister Layla used to be friends with a girl named Gracie. Layla and Gracie went into a new friends group in middle school, and I guess Gracie and her new friend group called Layla Barbie and laughed at her because Layla used to play with Barbies. Our mom talked to Gracie's mom, who had Gracie apologize. That was the end of it. Nothing else happened after that. No contact since they were 12. I'm not even sure they went to the same high school. Now, Layla's telling me that she's in a fight with her friend Tyler because Gracie happens to now be in the D&D club that Tyler runs. Tyler is vouching for Gracie and saying that she is cool, but Layla basically is demanding that Gracie be kicked out and saying that Tyler's choosing her bully over his friend. I told Layla that if I were Tyler, I'd tell Layla to forget it and stay home. I basically reiterated that I said in the title and above, which is that it's so dumb to refuse to be in a club and still judging someone over something they did at 12. And if she is caught up over being teased one time in middle school as a 20-year-old, then she needs therapy. Layla is calling me an a-hole and saying that I wasn't her and have no idea how embarrassing it was to be treated that way by a former friend. I still think that it's absurd that Layla's making a big deal out of it and demanding Gracie be kicked out, when she hasn't had any contact with her since middle school, or could just stay home herself. Am I the a-hole? Edit, because I probably should clarify. Layla is not a part of the D&D club. She asked Tyler to join, which is when he gave her the info of everyone in it and learned that Gracie was already a member of this club. Layla is technically intruding on the group that Gracie was already in. Nothing happened beyond the one Barbie incident at 12. I'm certain if anything else happened, Layla would have brought it up in her justification of why Tyler should kick Gracie out. But she just keeps bringing up the Barbie incident over and over. If being teased impacted her that much, then she could surely try talking to Gracie, especially when Tyler is vouching for her, and it sounds like she isn't the same person from middle school. This only became my business after Layla tried to get me involved and agree with her that Gracie should be kicked out. I won't lie that she is right when she's wrong to keep the peace. Someone who doesn't care may do that to appease her in the moment, but I will only cause more issues for my sister in the future. Look, I've been called names before growing up, but here's the thing. That was the only thing they could call me, was frickin' names. They call me Thomas the Tank Engine. Oh, boo-hoo, congratulations. Could you come up with something original for once? Do I remember it? Yes. Do I think that the people back then are going to be the same immature POSs today? Most likely not. People do tend to grow up. Plus also, if they're already in the group and then somebody else tries to join, sees somebody that they don't like and says, I want that person out of here, yeah, that is not going to have any weight to it whatsoever. You can't just walk into a group that's already established and then kick out somebody because you don't like them. Meanwhile, you're the newbie. That does not work like that at all. Middle school can be very brutal, but people do mature and grow up. Are there people that do not grow up sometimes? Very much so. But when they try to act like they did before, they just wind up looking like the biggest idiot in the room, certified, guaranteed. Plus also, if you're acting this way at 20, that really much puts you in a bad light than anything. Like, I try to look through the story to see more stuff and analyze it more, but then I keep on missing the fact that the person who's wanting another person who's already in an established group kicked out is 20 years old. They're a full-grown adult. Am I the a-hole for not being understanding when my partner canceled our vacation to be with his family? My boyfriend, 39M, and I, 36F, have been planning a trip for months. It was his idea. We would fly out on a Friday, spend a weekend in a new city, and fly home Monday. The trip was planned for 2 weeks from now. I put in my time off at work, arranged care for my pets, and have been getting excited. Life has been pretty rough for a while, and I was looking forward to new surroundings and spending time together. 2 weeks ago, his sister told him their family had planned a week-long getaway in 2 weeks. I think they leave tomorrow. Evidently, this had been planned for a good while, but both his sister and mother each would have the other had informed them, while neither actually did. They do things like this very often. They expect him to drop everything with little notice. I feel they treat him as an afterthought, and they sometimes only invite him to take advantage of his travel discounts. Yesterday, I brought up our trip, and he said that he didn't think he would be able to go. I was surprised and asked what the issue was. He said he won't have the paid time off at work for Friday and Monday, and that he can't financially afford it. He had to use up his paid time off on his family vacation, and as I type this, he's heading to where his parents and brother live so that he can pay to rent the vehicle they need to get their vacation destination. An 8-hour drive, which none of them wanted to use their own vehicles for. We will be driving his own vehicle and paying about $1,200 for their rental. Our finances are separate, and unless he asks for my opinion, I never comment on how he spends his money. When I found out that he was canceling our long-planned vacation because he's spending the entire trip's budget on a rental car for his family, relatively spur-of-the-moment getaway, I was angry. He accused me of not being very understanding and said that he hoped, if it were me in his shoes, that I would do the same thing for my family. I told him I wouldn't, that I wouldn't cancel plans that I had made with him months in advance because someone else wanted me to be available, and that wouldn't be in that position because, as grown-ass adults, my family wouldn't plan a vacation with the assumption that I would pay to get them there. Now we are angry with each other. I'm upset that he canceled our trip on me for this, and he's mad that I'm upset about it. It may be an enormous overreaction, but I'm even having second thoughts about our entire relationship. I feel pretty unimportant and quite low on his list of priorities. We've been together for more than 4 years, and it's not like I'm just one girl he's started spending time with, although that's how I'm left feeling. Losing my vacation is more than a little disappointing, but this also feels like another in a long list of ways he has shown me that I'm just not that important to him. So, am I the a-hole? Should I have been more understanding and not upset that he canceled our vacation 2 weeks in advance because of his family's impromptu trip? Yeah, I'm gonna say not the a-hole on this, because if your boyfriend is willing to plan something for you months out in advance, but is then willing to then drop that at a moment's notice because family happened to say, hey, come on this trip with us, then that's not exactly gonna put you in the best of moods at all. I wouldn't like to be treated like that either, that's absolutely certain. Am I the a-hole for giving FMIL 3 days to pay me for a new wedding dress, or else I show the family a photo of her wearing it? So, I'm getting married to my fiance soon. I bought my wedding dress weeks ago. My FMIL kept pestering me about trying it on, but I firmly refused. I finally shut it down after she offered me $100 to let her try it on. Her reasoning for persisting so much? She says it's because of her love for wedding dresses and her obsession with them. Fast forward to yesterday, I came home from work early and I found my fiancé at home. He freaked out after seeing me and tried to prevent me from going into my room while trying to text somebody on his phone. I opened the door and was shocked to see his mom standing there wearing my dress. I instantly pulled out my phone and took a photo of her in it. She and my fiancé freaked out, and after I told her that she needed to pay me for a new dress in 3 days, or else I show the whole family the photo. She started crying and then left, and my fiancé blew up at me, saying that I can't be serious, and that I overreacted because his mom just wanted to try the dress on. No harm done, but I refused to listen to him because, in my opinion, the dress should only be worn by the bride and the bride only. Quite frankly, I felt disgusted looking at the dress again, and I don't want it anymore. And so I think it's fair that she pays me after she ruined it for me. He yelled at me and told me to wake up and stop treating his mom like that, as if she was an enemy. We had a fight, and he failed to get me to back down, and he's been staying with his mom since then. I felt awful, and I spent $3,000 on this dress, and worked hard to get it. I can't stand looking at it, but people in my family think I'm escalating things, and risking my relationship, and not my fiance's mother-in-law, but my fiance as well. Am I the a-hole? Update. Oh my god, this blew up, and so I thought I'd add some updates. My fiancé called and offered to pay for the dress himself so that we can end the conflict, but he wants me to hand him my phone so that he can delete the photo himself, swear that I don't have any copies to use against his mom later, apologize to his mom, and lastly, he asked that I quit his family group chat and log out of Facebook for at least a month. I haven't responded yet. P.S. He called with this offer and conditions hours ago, but I didn't want to include this in the post, but now that I did. Also, I am not sure if I agree because I don't want him to pay for it. I want his mom, the one who wore it, to pay it off. Not being vicious, but just trying to hold her accountable. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like you're the a-hole in this one, because you explicitly told her that she's not allowed to wear it, but for some reason, she just said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll just wear it for a second," and she went and did it anyway. It's not like a $3,000 wedding dress has any sort of significance or cost or anything to it. No, that couldn't have been the case. If you've put a lot of time and effort into something, and it has a significant value to you, and you don't want other people using it, that is your choice, and other people need to respect that. For some reason, though, respecting other people's belongings seems to be a bit hard for some people to understand. Would I be the a-hole if I don't change my son's name, even though it may cause him to lose an inheritance? I, 24, got pregnant while I was taking a gap year traveling. I met an older guy, nothing gross. I was 19 and he was 23. We had fun. I was working in a bar to make money while I explored his city. When I got pregnant, he lost interest really quickly. I understood, but I am pro-choice, and I chose not to terminate. I went home and had my son. I also made sure to get child support. He could afford it. He did fight it, though. I had to prove paternity and everything. Through that, his parents found out, and they are well off. They have met my son, and they truly seem to love him. They have provided gifts for his birthday and Christmas. They helped me with extra money so that I could complete my university without going into debt. They have taken us on vacations with them so that they could spend time with him. They aren't my biggest fans, but we are cordial with each other. 3 months ago, my son's father passed away. He got drunk at his bachelor party, tripped on a sidewalk, and hit his head. And that's all she wrote. My son and I attended the funeral. We spent a week in that city so his grandparents could see him. They approached me with an offer. They had no other children or grandchildren. Their son was only 28, so he had lots of time to provide them legitimate kids. They did not say this, I'm just assuming, so they never thought about my son's name. They also said that if I changed his surname to theirs legally, they would make him their primary heir. I think this is dumb. He is their only grandchild, and they would deny him an inheritance because of his last name? I said that I would consider it, to be polite, and have left it at that. I actually have a pretty good life as it is, and my family has been very supportive. And because of the whole court thing, my son's father had to have life insurance with him as the beneficiary. Would it be nice for my kid to get a big sum of money? Yes. Do I want him to have the surname of a man who didn't want him, see him, or love him? No. I have been talking to my family about it, and a few of them think I'm being the a-hole for giving up this kind of money for my son. It is generational wealth, and I'm making the decision based on emotion. I think they are a-holes for thinking that money is the only thing that matters. I think I will tell my son's grandparents that they can talk to him about it when he is 16. He will be old enough to understand the implications, but young enough not to be tied professionally to his last name. This one I definitely was wondering what people thought of, so I looked through the comments, and there's a decent amount of you're the a-hole, decent amount of not the a-hole on this. And I'm kind of wondering what you guys are thinking. Waiting until the kid is 16 to have that talk because you're too young to understand it is a bit weird, because what if the grandparents die before the kid is 16 years old? Where's that happen? But there's got to be some way where you can sign it to somebody who isn't a part of your family, like doesn't share the same name, and still get all the benefits. There's got to be some kind of paperwork where that can work. Am I the a-hole for how I, 37M, reacted to my son, 17M, coming out to me, using my lurking account? Gee, I get a bad feeling I know why. It's been pointed out, my title wording makes the post seem worse than it is. I apologize for that. It wasn't my intention. So, I've always known my son had an interest in men. He was slow on the pickup of incognito mode, and from the searches he made, I figured he was at least bi-curious, if that's the proper term for it, since he hit puberty. Well, last year he started bringing a boy around, and it was obvious that they were dating, to the point that I figured out that he knew that I knew, and it wasn't a big deal to anyone. Well, apparently, I was wrong. After school yesterday, he and his boyfriend came up to me and said that there was something really important they needed to tell me. My son said that they were dating and had been for a year. Well, I was surprised that he wasn't aware I knew, and was a bit thrown off. My mouth moved faster than my brain, and I said, well, that's pretty frickin' gay. Now, I thought it was peak comedy, since it is in fact a gay. However, I understand using the word gay in that way gives it a very negative undertone, hence the mouth faster than the brain comment. Now my son and I are usually pretty edgy with our humor. That's being fairly tame for all the stuff we joke about. While probably not appropriate for the situation, it wasn't our norm for a conversation between us. However, he and his boyfriend were very, very upset and left. I'm probably the a-hole, but I thought I would check and see if y'all had some advice on what I can say to fix it. He currently won't respond to my texts or calls. I did not expect this to gain this much attention or traction. It's a bit intimidating, lol. I am reading the comments though. Anyways, here is a small update. He is at his grandparents' house, which I knew. He told them to tell me that he'll be home tomorrow after school to talk, and I'll update you on the conversation. Thank you for your responses. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I kind of think that the wording could have been a little bit better on it. You could have turned it into a dad joke. It's like, alright, I knew it. Or, you know, something to help ease any type of negative tension, because I can imagine talking to your parents about something like that could definitely be very stressful, and that's why some people just don't come out and talk about it. Part of my mind went back to Filthy Frank, though, so I thought it was like, okay, you could have played this off more in a humorous way.
What are you, fucking gay?
Am I the a-hole for pre-gaming my wife's dinners? My wife and I are both 32. Since we got married, we moved in together 5 months ago. My wife has simply not made nearly enough food for me. This is not a kind of situation where I am constantly agitated at her for incompetence or anything like that. I would be more than happy to microwave a burrito. I would be more than happy to whip up a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But I can't. My wife has, every single night of our marriage, done the same thing. She'll make me a tiny dinner. I'm talking like a Chinese chicken salad with 30 grams of chicken and 10 leaves of lettuce, arranged fashionably with dressing. When I finish eating, I'm still hungry because for a 230-pound man who works a physical labor job, it's not good enough food. At first, I tried to openly communicate with her, but she always took it horribly. She would adopt a 1,000-yard stare, and then begin talking about how incompetent she is, and how she can't make her husband a proper dinner. I tried to calm her down with, "Oh, honey, that's not the case. I just eat too much," or, "Don't worry about it. I can make a bit more." I tried to be overwhelmingly positive. It never helped. She would always just get incredibly disappointed in myself, cry, or take it out on me. Then she would make the exact amount the following day. After the communication route failed, I tried to eat her dinner as is. It became hard to sleep at night due to hunger, and I lost 7 pounds in the first month. Eventually, I figured out my own system. On my way home from work, I started swinging by a fast food restaurant and getting myself a burger. I would basically pregame her meals with some more calories. I figured it was a win-win, as that she doesn't know can't hurt her, and I could have my fill of food. I would eat on my way home, walk in the door, pick at the salad and quinoa or homemade mac and cheese she made, compliment her for her delicious cooking, and later dispose of the wrappers discreetly. 2 days ago, I was on my way home and in line at a drive-thru. My mother-in-law was coming out of the restaurant. She ran over, greeted me. I asked her in a humorous way not to tell her daughter where she saw me because she'd take it badly. And she agreed, but then she narked on me anyway. I got home to a furious wife who demanded details. When I provided the truth, she got extremely angry and looked legitimately hurt. I'm not good at handling confrontation and feel like I betrayed my wife in some way. Was I wrong here? No, definitely not, considering the fact that you decided to actually go the communication route, and that didn't work before. Even if you weren't 230 pounds, that is still not enough calories by far for any person. So yeah, I'm gonna label it as not the a-hole in this one, because dude, you have to get your calories in, and you gotta do what you gotta do. You tried talking over it with your wife, and that's not working out. She basically put you on a diet regardless of what you wanted to do, and that's not cool. If you have a concern about your partner's weight, it's always good to have that route of communication. The communication part is very much key, not putting them on a diet as the only means of you giving them any type of a dinner. Am I the a-hole for ordering a giant steak against my mother-in-law's will, actually eating it, and refusing to cover the entire bill? This is ridiculous, and I can't believe I have to ask if I am the a-hole, but here we are. I, F27, have been together with my husband Nate for over 10 years and married for 4. I don't have the best relationship with my mother-in-law, as she always seems to police what I want to eat. Everyone in my family have fast metabolisms. I am also working with horses, so due to this burn a lot of calories, talking about 2.5 to 3,000 a day, and usually have rather large meals to get the energy back, and I still remain skinny. Now to the event. My in-laws invited me and Nate over for dinner last Friday. I was very busy back then and haven't eaten since about 6 to 7 a.m. and also didn't have a chance to have a snack before heading to the restaurant, so I was starving. I usually have something to eat before seeing my mother-in-law to avoid her comments. Due to this, I have ordered a large steak at the restaurant, which was meant for 2 people. It also came with prawns, bacons, and 2 sides. Please note, it was not the most expensive item on the menu, as some of my in-laws had significant pricier dishes, and we are all splitting the bill anyways. My mother-in-law started making comments about how I shouldn't be ordering what I can't eat, since even her husband wouldn't be able to finish the dish, let alone someone my size. I smiled and said, I haven't eaten since early morning and I'm starving. If I don't finish the steak, I will take the leftovers home. I have easily finished the steak and was waiting for my dessert when the mother-in-law flipped. She said I am attention-seeking and was putting on a show. She also said that I have made my father-in-law and brother-in-law feel uneasy, and that a woman shouldn't eat that much. It is unhealthy, and something is wrong with me. She has then demanded me and Nate cover their entire bill, as she wasn't planning on such a big expenditure. I said, as we are absolutely not covering the entire bill, since it was meant to be split equally, and reminded her of her dishes she ordered that were significantly more expensive compared to my steak, including her starter. As a result, I was called an a-hole who was ruining the family dinner. Nate is on my side, but most of my in-laws are making a passive-aggressive post on social media about it and keep sending me different articles of what might cause excessive eating. I kind of feel like the more I read this, the more I just keep on thinking that she was just looking for a way to skip out on the bill and was just like, you're eating something that is going to draw attention to you. Okay, you need to now pay for everybody's meal, even though everybody else's stuff each individually is more expensive than whatever you wanted to buy. There's your justification. Am I the a-hole for calling my daughter's father spineless and his girlfriend creepy over their name choice for their daughter? A little bit of context for you all. I ended up falling pregnant with my 10-year-old daughter during a drunken hookup with a friend in my mid-20s. Not the most glamorous or flattering truth, but it's the truth all the same. We found out and decided to keep the child and co-parent while remaining friends. We were never a couple and didn't want to be one either. 4 years ago, he began to date his long-term girlfriend, and they moved in together last year. She fell pregnant, and I've been supportive of them both as much as I could without crossing any lines. I've encouraged my daughter to help out whenever she is staying with them during the pregnancy and to behave. I've also made it clear that I want the children to have a close relationship despite having different mothers. I've even said that if they were comfortable with it on nights I have my daughter, if they ever want time alone, I'll babysit once they have the baby so my daughter can spend time with her sibling. All in all, I thought everything was great, and I was excited for my daughter to have a sibling, as she has always wanted one, but I had no interest in having another kid. 3 days ago, my friend and his girlfriend had a daughter, and they asked me to bring my daughter to the hospital to meet their little sister yesterday, alongside others of the family. So, I did exactly that, but when they introduced us to the baby, I was shocked. They'd used my daughter's name. She didn't seem to have any issue with this when she introduced the baby bold as brass. My friend seemed uncomfortable and wouldn't look me directly. I asked them what they were playing at which point my friend's father said that he'd take my daughter down to the cafeteria to get something to eat and left with her. My friend told me to calm down and not overreact while his daughter told me she didn't see the issue and it was pretty names. I asked them if they had named the baby for my daughter, trying to understand the logic here, but his girlfriend said that no, it was just a pretty name that she liked. I then asked if they planned to use a nickname for a middle name when addressing to her on a daily basis, and her response was that she didn't see a need for that. I told them that they were being ridiculous and that they couldn't do this. I then told his girlfriend that I found this frankly creepy and told my friend that he was being spineless. If he was happy to go along with this, he tried to claim our daughter could use a nickname or something, but I shut that down immediately, asking why it was more reasonable for a girl who has used that name for a decade to shame her name compared to a baby who had no concept of what a name was yet. His girlfriend told me that I was being a bee talking to her like that after she just gave birth, and asked the nurse to remove me, saying I was being disruptive. Maybe my temper is running a little too hot though, and I was too harsh with her when she just gave birth. It's just so freaking weird. Edit. I'd also like to state, I know that what they want to name their child is their choice. They could have called her Dinosaur for all I care, but this is one name that should be off limits or adjusted. They even have the same surname as they have the same father. Something about it is just felt malicious and deliberate, as if she's trying to replace my daughter, and for them both to spring it on us like that at the first meeting? No, that was weird. Yeah, I kind of feel like if you already have a kid with somebody, and you have a kid with somebody else, maybe you shouldn't name the new kid the same as the previous kid. That just don't seem right at all. Also, on top of that, you realize how confusing that is gonna be when they are hanging out. They have both the first name and the last name. You both call them where only one of them gets in trouble. They're gonna both think that they're both in trouble. Am I the a-hole for saying my wife will have to quit her job if we get booted from another daycare? My wife and I have a 3-year-old daughter, Alexis. Both of us work, and Alexis has attended daycare since she was 1. In the 2 years since, we have been asked to leave 2 programs because my wife is a micromanager. I admit that both of us went into the first program not really understanding daycare. I quickly learned that they can't provide personalized care, and after learning from her teachers, I reset my expectations. My wife, however, has a lot of anxiety and worries about our daughter. She hates when she gets even a little upset. She's in therapy and is working on it. First program, my wife would constantly watch the live feed and call the daycare multiple times a day. We had several talks about it, and the school talked to us twice. My wife ended up screaming at one of the teachers and then the director. We were terminated immediately. Second daycare was a little better because my wife began therapy, but my wife was still so nervous and had a complaint every single day. These were not important things. Small things like she saw another child took a toy from Alexis and she would cry. The teacher would give the toy back to Alexis, but my wife didn't understand why the other child wasn't punished for it. The daycare didn't kick us out, but did eventually suggest that this may not be the best program for us. My wife and I decided to pull Alexis out. My wife because of her anxiety, myself because I knew my wife had burned bridges and was becoming one of those moms. We chose a smaller home daycare this time as we couldn't afford another center. The woman who owns it is very nice but also firm. She stands by our boundaries and won't let my wife break any rules. Whereas the centers were definitely more accommodating, my wife would take any inch she got. This time, she doesn't get that opportunity. I thought all was well, as the owner only speaks to the wife for the most part. Then I get put in a group text saying that my wife has been bombarding the owner with texts all day, despite the owner saying that she will text her at lunch when things are settled. She said at this point she will only be responding to specific times of the day and not looking for the rest. The owner then added and sent several pages of the contract with passages highlighted reminding us of certain policies my wife had violated. I was pissed. When Alexis went to bed that night, my wife and I talked. I said this was our last option for daycare. The other centers are too expensive, and this was the only home daycare in the area that we liked. A nanny is not in our budget. My wife made a million excuses, stating that it's not her fault she's anxious. I said if we are asked to leave this program too, my wife will be the one quitting her job to watch Alexis, not me. This upset my wife. I pointed out that I've spoken to her kindly about this plenty of times. I encourage her to keep up her therapy, but she can't keep getting us kicked out of programs. My wife is now not speaking to me. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I cannot be the primary contact for daycare due to not being able to have my phone on me at work. But with that, that is going to have to be it with the video. If you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support, and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions, and if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Now I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye!